The movie begins on Halloween night in 2023, with a narrator explaining that a horrifying series of murders took place 35 years earlier, claiming the lives of 3 teenage girls. In 1987, Tiffany Clark was found brutally murdered inside her family's garage after being stabbed 66 times on her 16th birthday. 2 days later, Marissa Song was killed inside a cabin in the woods after suffering 16 stab wounds, also on her 16th birthday. 2 days after that, on Halloween night, Heather Hernandez, who was also 16 years old, was stabbed 16 times to death in a parking lot. After those murders, the killer disappeared without a trace, and despite everyone's efforts, he was never found. The townspeople nicknamed him the Sweet 16 Killer. He always wore an all-black outfit along with a distinctive mask, and over the years, that costume became an iconic Halloween look throughout the town. The story then shifts to crime journalist Chris Dubasich, who is giving a tour of the locations where the murders took place. We then meet Jamie, who is getting ready to go out. Her mother complains about the loud music, and Jamie tells her she's meeting her friend Amelia because they won 2 tickets to a Killer Instinct concert. Her mother tries to convince her to stay home with the family for Halloween and help hand out candy to trick-or-treaters. It's clear that Jamie's parents have always been overprotective because of the murders that haunted their generation, especially now that Jamie has turned 16, the same age as the victims. Her mother insists that Jamie's father drive her to the concert, wait until it's over, and bring her safely back home. Meanwhile, Jamie's mother receives a text message from Chris Dubasich, but she lies to her husband, claiming it was from one of her friends. Later, Jamie's father drops her off at the concert while her mother stays home alone, handing out candy to children. Suddenly, someone wearing the infamous killer's costume appears at her front door. She opens it and asks if he's alone, but he says nothing. Instead, he pulls out a knife and attacks her. She initially manages to fight him off, grabs the knife, and warns him that the police are on their way. The attacker retreats outside, but moments later she realizes someone else is standing behind her. The second attacker lunges at her. She tries to escape, but he catches her and fatally stabs her 16 times. The title card then appears, Totally Killer, confirming that the Sweet 16 Killer has returned after decades of silence. The following morning, Jamie goes to school, where the principal offers his condolences for her mother's death. A police detective questions Jamie about her father's whereabouts on the night of the murder and reveals that her mother had exchanged numerous messages with journalist Chris Dubasich, suggesting that Jamie's father may have become jealous. Jamie angrily rejects the accusation, insisting her father would never do such a thing. She tells the detective to focus on solving the case that her father, who had once investigated the original murders, was never able to solve. Later, Jamie heads to the school's science lab, where students are working on various projects. Amelia is attempting to build a time machine that can take them back to October 27, 1987, the day the first murder occurred. She hopes they can stop the first killing from ever happening, which would keep Jamie's mother alive. Later on, Jamie meets with Chris Dubasich despite her father's warning to stay away from him. During their conversation, she discovers that years ago her mother received a message from the killer after his final murder, telling her that she would be his next victim. Indeed, after 35 years, the killer finally returned and carried out his crime. Jamie also discovers that Chris never had a romantic relationship with her mother. He was simply her friend, and they kept their conversations a secret because Jamie's father absolutely hated him. When Jamie realizes that her mother never told her about the killer's message and had lived in fear of him her entire life, she finally understands why her mother had always been so protective of her. Jamie leaves the invention lab and meets up with Amelia, telling her that she'll help stop the killer. Suddenly, the masked murderer appears behind her and attacks. Jamie runs for her life and grabs Amelia's time machine, desperately trying to activate it. Just as the killer is about to stab her, the machine powers up. The killer drives his knife into the control panel in an attempt to destroy it, but Jamie shoves him away, and the machine successfully sends her back to the year 1987. A girl gives Jamie a ride to the high school, where she's surprised to find out that enrolling is incredibly easy and doesn't require any paperwork. Excited, she heads to the football field and sees the girls who will eventually become the killer's victims while they're still alive. The coach forces her to join the game, and she quickly realizes how rough everyone is. Jamie asks one of the girls about her mother, who tells her that everyone calls her the Wicked Witch because she's arrogant and downright mean. During the game, Jamie's mother smacks her in the face with the ball and mocks her. After the game, Jamie talks to her mother and discovers that she really was a bully and treated people terribly. She then rushes to the police station to report that a murder is about to happen, but the sheriff laughs at her and says no one has ever been murdered in their town before. Jamie desperately tries to convince them and even asks if they've ever seen Back to the Future, so she can explain what's happening to her. Of course, they think she's crazy and send her back to school. Back at school, Jamie looks for Lorraine, Amelia's mother, and asks to speak with her outside. Luckily, Lorraine has seen Back to the Future, so she actually listens. Jamie explains that Amelia used her notebook to build a time machine and brings Lorraine to see it. Lorraine realizes that the machine really did activate after the killer stabbed the control panel and concludes that it simply needed one additional metallic element to function properly. Jamie convinces Lorraine to go with her to the party. While they're there, Jamie sees a guy bullying another student and yells at him. She then realizes that the three people standing nearby are the future principal, the future coach, and the future sheriff when they were teenagers. They refuse to let Jamie into the party, but Doug helps them sneak in through the back entrance. Inside, Jamie tries talking to the girls, but they insult her and throw her out. She manages to get back inside after fighting off someone trying to remove her again. She warns the girls that they absolutely have to stay together for the rest of the day, no matter what happens. Later, Jamie notices that her mother is upset because her boyfriend walked away after finding out she had been seeing another guy from a local band named Blake Hughes. Jamie realizes this is the same band her mother will hate in the future. Blake heads upstairs and tries flirting with Tiffany, but she rejects him and goes into the bathroom. When she comes back out and doesn't find him, she sits down on the bed. Suddenly, the masked killer appears. At first she thinks it's her boyfriend, but he grabs her by the hair and stabs her 16 times, killing her. Meanwhile, Jamie has been searching everywhere for Tiffany. When she checks the garage, Tiffany isn't there because Jamie's trip through time has already changed parts of history. Instead of dying in the garage, Tiffany is now in her mother's bedroom. Jamie rushes upstairs, breaks down the door, and everyone is horrified to discover Tiffany's body. The police arrive shortly afterward, including Sheriff Dennis, who's arrogant and refuses to question his daughter's friend. He immediately turns his attention to Jamie, who insists she tried to warn everyone but nobody listened. He begins to suspect her, but Pam steps in and tells him Jamie was trying to save Tiffany, not hurt her. Pam leaves in tears, and Jamie follows her. Jamie claims she's a psychic medium who knows things about the future and warns Pam that everyone in her friend group is going to die unless they stop the killer. The two return to Pam's house, where Jamie asks if anyone might hold a grudge against their group. Unfortunately, Pam starts listing dozens of people they bullied, humiliated, or whose lives they ruined, making the suspect list incredibly long. Jamie then tells Pam that she and Blake Hughes will get married in the future, but warns her not to get involved with him yet. Pam is thrilled because she's secretly had a crush on him for a long time. Together, they decide to uncover the killer's identity while Lorraine continues repairing the time machine. The story then shifts back to the present day, where Jamie's father is frantic because the police still have no idea where his daughter disappeared to. Amelia tells everyone that Jamie used a time machine and vanished, but naturally, nobody believes her. Later, Chris visits Amelia's house and finds her trying to build another time machine. During their conversation, he suddenly remembers an important detail. Tiffany originally died in the garage, but the news now says she died on the bed in her mother's bedroom, proving that history has already changed. Chris then shows the old photographs to the group, and Amelia spots Jamie in one of them. She immediately realizes her invention actually worked, and that Jamie really traveled back in time to stop the murders. Soon afterward, Amelia receives a hidden message telling her to add another metal component so the machine will function properly. They also discover that the note found beside Tiffany's body contains the exact same lyrics as one of Eddie Royal's songs. Back in 1987, the police detain Eddie Royal for questioning, but Jamie insists they're wasting their time because he isn't responsible for the murders. She meets with the girls again and notices that everyone is acting the same except for Pam, who has started changing a little. During science class, Jamie convinces everyone to hold a small memorial for Tiffany by planting a tree in her honor. She also asks everyone to write down their names because she's trying to figure out who sent the threatening letter to her mother. However, the teacher pairs her up with Damon in the lab. While looking through his notebook, she finds disturbing writings, including the words, "Kill them all." After school, everyone picks Jamie up to celebrate a birthday party. On the way there, she asks about Damon. They explain that he spent a year in juvenile detention because he was constantly getting into fights. He also spent the previous year at home after his sister, Trish, who had been bullied by the group, died in a car accident. Jamie begins to suspect that the person they bullied, along with having a violent brother like Damon, could be connected to the murders, making Damon another possible suspect. The girls, however, reassure her that she's overthinking it. Jamie eventually falls asleep until they arrive at the same house where Marissa was originally murdered. She's surprised to discover that more people have joined the party because she thought only the 4 girls would be there. The party continues, and Jamie keeps insisting that everyone stay together in one place. Instead, they all head outside to the swimming pool. It's then revealed that the sheriff's daughter stole marijuana from the police evidence room and mixed it into the cake. Everyone ends up getting high except Jamie, who somehow isn't affected despite eating some herself. To get everyone back inside the house, Jamie tells them there's pizza waiting indoors. Everyone rushes inside, but the coach locks Jamie outside while the others search for the pizza, believing she hid it. Meanwhile, Pam tries getting closer to Blake Hughes, even though Jamie warned her that they wouldn't get together for another 4 years. As Pam slices an apple, she accidentally cuts her hand. At the same time, Heather is asleep, Marissa is standing by herself, and Jamie remains locked outside, unable to get back into the house. Suddenly, Jamie notices a stranger inside the house and immediately tries to warn Marissa, but Marissa brushes her off and ignores the warning. At the same time, Pam and Blake Hughes head upstairs together and are just about to get intimate. Jamie climbs up to the window and sees the killer trying to murder Heather, but Heather wakes up just in time, fights back, and runs away. Meanwhile, Jamie enters the room where Pam is, and they all try to escape, only to find the killer waiting outside the door. They quickly lock it again, but Heather falls to the ground. The killer catches up to her and brutally stabs her to death. Blake rushes in to stop him, but the killer stabs him in the shoulder before attacking Pam and knocking her to the floor. Jamie arrives and tries to fight back, but the killer manages to escape. Afterward, everyone heads to the police station, where Jamie hands over a DNA sample from the killer. However, the sheriff laughs at her, throws the DNA sample onto the floor, and says it's completely useless. The following day, everyone returns to school. Jamie tries to keep Pam and Blake Hughes apart and urges Lorraine to repair the time machine as quickly as possible. Lorraine, however, is busy finishing a new helmet designed to transfer energy so the machine can be powered and send Jamie back to the future. While at school, Jamie notices Damon parking his car near the party location, making her even more suspicious of him. After he walks away, she sneaks into his car and searches it, only to find it packed with video games. Suddenly, Damon returns, and Jamie freezes. Instead of getting angry, Damon nervously tells her she can take any game she wants, as long as she leaves one particular game because it's extremely valuable. A moment later, Doug, who works with the school's security team, walks over and reminds them that no students are allowed to leave campus during school hours unless they have an official pass. As soon as he notices Damon's massive video game collection, he gets distracted and starts talking to him about it. Jamie then heads to the amusement park to check whether Lorraine has managed to activate the time machine. Lorraine explains that she's still waiting for a powerful energy source. They realize one of the amusement rides can generate the energy they need, so they tell the operator that the ride requires maintenance. He believes them and steps away for a break, leaving Lorraine behind to activate the machine. Meanwhile, Jamie joins the rest of the group to protect Marissa. They tell her to go into the haunted house attraction, since it's where she always hangs out, and to act completely normal. They also give her a personal alarm to use if she needs help. On the way, Jamie and Pam run into Kara, who tells them the police have considered them suspects ever since the latest murder before walking away. The group waits inside the haunted house while Marissa wanders around looking for someone. Suddenly, the killer enters after noticing movement inside and attacks Jamie. The others arrive just in time, allowing Jamie to stab him with a knife. Moments later, Kara rushes in and shoots the attacker with her gun, insisting that she isn't the killer. When they pull off the mask, they're shocked to discover it's Doug. Everyone immediately assumes Doug is the murderer because he was dating Trish and deeply cared about her. Jamie, however, can't believe he would commit all these murders simply because the group bullied Trish. Marissa then reveals what really happened. The girls had heard a rumor that Trish was having an affair with the coach, so they invited her over, got her drunk, and kept pressuring her to admit it. Trish refused to answer, and it appears she called Doug for help. Instead of helping her, they let her drive home alone while she was intoxicated, which ultimately caused the car crash that killed her. Jamie angrily blames Pam for what happened, but Pam insists she wasn't even there that night and swears she never would have done something like that. Just then, a second killer suddenly appears, fatally stabs Heather, and runs away. Kara chases after the masked figure and opens fire, but none of her shots hit him. Jamie begins to suspect that it's Doug from the future. Lorraine quickly points out that this is impossible because Doug from the past has already died, meaning his future self couldn't exist. The story then jumps back to the present. Lorraine returns home and finds Amelia lying on the floor, bleeding. This immediately makes everyone suspect Chris Dubasage because he was the last person seen with her while she was working on the time machine. At the same time, the killer chases Jamie through the amusement park. During the pursuit, he murders the TV news anchor, who happens to be Chris's father. Jamie jumps into the ride that powers the time machine, and Lorraine rushes over to help her. The killer catches up to them, but Lorraine dodges his attack and escapes. Suddenly, Pam tackles the killer, but he throws her to the ground. Jamie tries to intervene, only to be knocked down beside Pam. The machine suddenly powers up, and the powerful magnetic field pins everyone against the ride. Somehow, the killer is still able to move and walks toward Pam. Jamie struggles to reach the controls so she can pull Pam free, but the killer reaches her first and stabs Pam in the stomach. Even so, Jamie manages to pull Pam out of the machine. At that moment, the killer's mask falls off, revealing that he is none other than Chris Dubosage. He confesses that he killed Jamie's mother twice and murdered his own father because of the abuse he suffered growing up. He then attacks Jamie, but she fires a nail gun at him, sending him backward into the electromagnetic field. As a result, he's pulled back into his own timeline. With everything finally over, Jamie returns home and finds her mother alive. A short time later, Lorraine and Amelia arrive. Jamie is surprised to see them, but they explain that they've celebrated Halloween with her family every year for as long as they can remember. Lorraine then takes Jamie outside and gives her a notebook containing everything that happened, helping her remember her original life because so many events have changed. Jamie learns that her parents got together much earlier than before and had another child, a 4-year-old boy. The biggest surprise is that his name is Jamie, meaning her younger brother now has the name that originally belonged to her. Finally, Lorraine explains that many things turned out differently. After his father's death, Chris traveled to a monastery in India and remained there, while Lorraine continues keeping an eye on everything to make sure history stays on the right track. And that's where the movie comes to an end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget that your opinion matters to us, so be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to the channel for more videos.